All right, let's talk about, I think, probably the biggest name on this Chiefs defense. It's, of course, Chris Jones. Chris Jones, we'll start off with the play you see on your screen, and you see where he is on the screen, right? So what do you do if you're going up against Chris Jones? That's kind of what I want to talk about, is a lot of the strategies behind how this could potentially work for San Francisco, who's going to have to try and figure out how to block him in this Super Bowl. Well, what's the obvious thing you do if you're going up against an elite interior defensive lineman? Well, the nice thing is, usually teams will have their center help, out a guard on one side or the other, so you can kind of just have your center block Chris Jones and make it a double team, right? That's what Buffalo is going to do here, and, okay, well, is it going to work out? That answer is going to be yes. The double team does work, and, Allen got ready to throw relatively quickly anyway, but still, double team works to get Chris Jones out of the area. Okay, simple enough. Oh, well, if it's that easy, then what? Will we even hear Chris Jones' name mentioned? And, there are times in our games where you don't hear his name mentioned a ton for that reason, because he gets extra attention. But getting double teamed on a play does not mean that you now don't have value in the play. And in fact, if a team knows that they have a player who's going to get double teamed, like the Chiefs know, it can set up so many other opportunities. Because think about it. Okay, let's say the guard and, center are going to be blocking Chris Jones. Then the left guard and left tackle are going to be blocking the two guys, in front there. And then I don't have it on the screen, but obviously right tackle blocks the guy in front of him as well. Okay. Well, if this is what teams are probably going to do, well, what does that mean for Kansas City? They can game plan around this. You could have an edge rusher go like that, right? Have him go in between the left guard and the center and get a straight shot to the quarterback potentially. Or have a blitzer just go straight through, and now, again, on a play like this, there is a halfback, in the game, but still, a halfback is a guy who has to try and make something work. You could even have a certain scenario where you have multiple players blitz on the same side of the field. Because of this, there could be scenarios where for, San Francisco, they might have to, leave Chris Jones one-on-one at times. And in fact, there is going to be times where he's left one-on-one. Well, okay, that's that's kind of X's and O's a little bit in basic terms. But what about the players themselves? First, there's Aaron Banks for San Francisco. And, he's probably, I would probably say is the weak spot of this offensive line in general, really. Maybe Colton McKivitz at right tackle as well. But he is someone that, quite frankly, you probably don't want to leave one-on-one too many times. And again, for Kansas City, there's several ways you could play it. You could just put Chris Jones on Banks and kind of force there to have to be help there every single time. Or you go a different way and you have him on the other guard, John Feliciano, who's actually, he's played center in the past. He's actually been a good guard for them, though. I mean, you see PFF has him ranked as the 5th best guard. Pass blocking, not quite as good as the run blocking. Run blocking is great in that scenario. So for someone like Feliciano, if you put Jones on him one-on-one, you still kind of feel like Chris Jones going to win a lot of those one-on-one matchups. But now you could have a scenario where the center, Jake Brendel, he might have to go over and he might have to still help out Feliciano because Jones is there, forcing Banks to have a bunch of one-on-one matchups, right? There's several ways you could go about this. You see that Brendel has not graded well pass blocking this season, has graded well run blocking though, which is kind of the case with a lot of these players. And again, going over to something like this, I talked about ways you can take him out of the play, but the reality is if, the Bills are giving him a one-on-one matchup here, and if you give him a one-on-one matchup, you know what's going to happen? Yeah, you do. Watch Jones with this really quick win. He gets over there, gets the quarterback hit. Josh Allen got rid of the football quickly there, but still took a hit, which you don't want to do. If you don't want Purdy to have to take a hit, even if he does get rid of the football, and you especially don't want him to take a hit before he gets rid of the football. So again, Chris Jones, he's someone you have to pay a lot of attention to if you're San Francisco. However, going over to a play like this, I think it is worth mentioning that San Francisco is not your typical offensive line, right? They do a lot of things like this, which, the guy I'm going to talk about on this play, Vita Vea, who, is not Chris Jones, but is a very good interior defensive lineman. And watch what San Francisco is going to do on a play like this, where you might think, okay, one-on-one matchup, Vita Vea, let's see what the domination he's going to, pull off here. Well, San Francisco just drops back and, it's a traditional passing play, but at the same time, Vea didn't know that before that play, right? San Francisco runs so many different things that even when you just drop back and it's finally a traditional situation, it still could surprise you a little bit and still could lead Jones to kind of play run defense for a second instead of doing something like that. Because, like, going over here, like, yes, you can fool even players like Chris Jones. And sometimes it's not even, like, the wrong play for a defender. Something like this, again, one-on-one block in oh my God, this could be a disaster, right? And this is in the running game. But watch as the guard's going to move over, and it looks like he's pushing Jones towards the top of the screen. So what are you expecting? You're expecting Josh Allen himself to keep the ball and run kind of just underneath the, where Chris Jones is. That's what you're expecting to have happen. However, instead, you see that Diggs actually takes the handoff and he picks up a first down instead. So you can do that to take Chris Jones out of the play. And it's not really fair to blame Chris Jones, right? But it's just when you do all these fakes, you're forcing a defender to have to play his own assignment, and he can't be a game wrecker. One other thing we have to mention with this is going to be let's just talk about it. So here he is on the field, and this is not going to be a dominant win by any means by Chris Jones. You see that when this play begins, there's several guys on him, and he quite frankly, he gives up. He gives up, which is something you will see him do now and then. Is when a play isn't working, he'll just stop, which, he plays a lot of snaps, right? He tries to make sure he has the energy on other snaps, so I get it. But you see him right here. It seems like he's given up and, okay, he's out of the play. But there is one thing he still does, and, for 49ers fans, this might be a little triggering to bring up. Watch Jones lift his hand up really kind of casually and bats the ball away. Chris Jones is one of the best at deflected passes, and the reason why I said it might be a little triggering for 49ers fans is, well, because in the Super Bowl, Chris Jones had a couple of key batted passes against Jimmy Garoppolo. So, yes, that is another way he can, have a key impact in a game like this. So my kind of final predictions chart here thing, which again, not meant to be taken too seriously, just a fun thing to do, kind of a way to list all the videos I've made. And if you see something interesting, the video's on the channel, so check that out. But for Chris Jones, I give a plus or minus 5 for each team in these scenarios. I'm going to go +3 Chiefs for Chris Jones in this scenario. Again, there are ways San Francisco can get Chris Jones out of position for sure. And I would also say they have the ability to, double team. Like, there's things to do just in general against a great edge rusher. But I have to think that at the end of the day, when you have, an interior offensive line that isn't the best pass protecting offensive line, that's fair to say, and you're going up against maybe the best pass rushing interior defensive lineman in football. Like, I don't care what schematic thing you can do. At the end of the day, players still matter, and Jones is going to find a way to impact the game in some way, I would assume. But yeah, those are my thoughts on all of this. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.